In today's video, we're going to cover one of the most important things that every Python developer needs to know: the right way to structure and organize your data. We're going to compare traditional classes, data classes, as well as two different versions of named tuples. You're going to learn when we use them, why we use them, and which ones are better at things like performance, readability, and safety. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly the right way to structure your data. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back, guys, for another episode of Code with Josh. For obvious reasons, I'm Josh, and I'm stoked to have you guys here. Before I dive into today's video, help me out. Hit the like button and subscribe. That really means a lot. It really does help out my channel. So if you get value, let me know there, okay? Now today's video, we're diving into a different topic here, and I want to showcase different ways that we can actually store our data at scale, and different ways that we actually use in real-world development. And to do this, I want to compare different ways that you might already know, right? We have traditional classes. A lot of you guys know this, but I'll build it out with you. We have data classes, and then we have something called named tuples, which might sound new to you. And I'm going to break all these down and share with you guys when and why we use them, and what are the pros and cons to using each one. By the end of this, you're going to know exactly which way is best to store your data when you need it the most. Now, before we jump right into the code, okay, the first link in the description, that is my Python master class. If you guys want to get really good at Python and actually work with me one-on-one, where I take you through A to Z, over 135 lessons, one-on-one coaching, all my ebooks, and unlock everything to master Python faster, check that out. It's the first link in the description, okay? All the other links down there are dedicated to you guys. I have my free Python training, my Python newsletter, and all my ebooks. So head on down, check those out. That really does support me, okay? And I'm excited to work with you and help you grow whichever path you decide on. Okay, enough said. Let's jump right into the video. All right, guys, here we are jumping into data storage in Python. Now, I wanted to make this video because we have different ways that we can store data, some of which you already know and you use. Others are going to be new, but they all serve a different use case to really why we do these. Now, I've already written out what we're going to cover in this video. One, for me to make sure I hit all these talking points for you guys, but just in case you want to see what each one does, I've already gone through and typed everything out. We're going to cover traditional classes, data classes, a newer implementation of named tuples, and then the classic named tuples, which we can import. Now, up top, I already have the imports that we're going to be using for this, okay? So I'll touch on all of these as we go through and use them. Now, for this little project, this video today, okay, I'm going to be creating a special class, which is going to be using this class enum here. Now, this is going to allow us to create a class and really define these variables that are going to be constants that I can apply to other classes. And once I define a variable here, I can actually update or even expand on that in a later use case. And so this is a rather common technique here. Now, we're going to start off with our traditional class. Before I do, I'm going to do this video around the topic of travel. I think we all like travel, right? I like travel. I like making content about it, all right? So I'm going to make like a little travel system where each class is going to take things like country, climate, the budget, and just have fun with it. I'm going to create an enum class here for climate, and let's inherit enum. Now, this is really just the first part of it. But this class I can then use in my other classes. And this is kind of like storing our constant variables. So if you think about climate conditions, right, I could create a constant variable called tropical, and I could just give the value as a string, tropical. And later in time, I'll be able to access this property and actually give this more unique descriptions like tropical jungle or tropical palm trees with a beach, right? I'll be able to expand on this. So what other climates do we have, right? We have tropical Europe. We have like Mediterranean. Okay, first off, I want to do a constant. How do we spell that? Mediterranean.
You guys can laugh at my spelling. In fact, you might as well please do. I probably butchered that terribly. And you can hear that I'm here trying to sound spell that out. That is so wrong. We're just going to assume that that says Mediterranean. Let's say like, I don't know, content, let's say like continental. We could put here as a string again, continental. We could have environments like cold weather. I could put cold. Let's just say like Arctic. And I'll do here Arctic. And the last one, let's say desert. Okay, so all of these are just starting climates that I'll be able to tap into this property and use them as I build out a class, okay? So for example, let's come down here. Let's begin with the traditional class route. Now, a lot of you guys probably already know a traditional class, but the reason I'm starting with this, one, it's super common, and two, this is actually going to build on the other 3 data storage methods that I'm going to show you in this video. So let's create a class called destination. And what we know is we use traditional classes when I've put here, we need behavior and state. And these could be your methods and your properties, your data. Now, by using a traditional class, right, this data could evolve over time. I could edit the data, I could evolve it, I could add new things to it and expand on this class. So that is one of the use cases here that we're going to actually build out a class of your own. So I'll try not to do very much for this class. All right, let's just keep it basic. Let's say the name. Okay, we'll have a string here. We'll have a country. We can have a climate. And I'll actually just pass in here the class climate here, right? So I made this class. I'm passing this in here that I'll be able to then use these climates. That's the advantage to doing it like this. And then let's say each destination, we have some kind of daily budget. And this can just be a float. Okay, so now that we have those, right, each of those, we then do need to go through and you have to make a property for each of them, right? So that could be considered a drawback, right? But once again, if we're going with trying to have evolving data over time, then this is definitely something that is worth taking the time to code out here. What do we have? Daily budget. Okay, and this is just going to be equal to daily budget. Now, I've also put here, right, when we use these classes, not only are you able to customize them, right, but for things like validation or if computational speed is on your side, and you want the ability to mutate things, then that's the advantage to using this. Let's create one. Let's just say here, if we go traveling, I already have mapped out here, attraction. Let's say we can add an attraction in here. And let's just create a list for this attraction. This will take a string. This is not really going to output anything. So I guess what we can say here is, well, if I want this to be a list, let's just say self.attractions is equal to a list. Okay, so let's add an attraction. So if the attraction is not in my list attractions, then let's just append it. Let's say attraction. Whoops. Sorry, we're just going to say, where's my list? Geez, I'm going backwards here. Let's just append our attraction. Okay, so that is one way, right? I'm just building out a class. I'm adding some behavior to it. I'm able to do this, right? I guess the advantage here too is you could do things like, I could even make a property, right? So a function which really acts as a property. And maybe I could do here like peak budget. What's the budget that we're implementing here? And let's just return, actually, let's say like we have a peak season budget, because I think we all know if we go traveling at places, right, we know that there's always like, it gets expensive around certain times. Now, you can multiply this by the daily budget, right? But I've actually imported up here the decimal class, which we can just use here to handle this for us, because I want to multiply it by a decimal. And inside here, you're just going to give it the value, so like 1.20. Both of these work, right? This is a bit more on the safer side of things. You can just do times 1.20. I'll revert that since we've imported it. So this class is done. you know how to set up a traditional class. Let's move on to take a look at our data class. All right, so data classes are great. I love these little guys because they really allow us to store out structured data, and these are really lightweight. Okay, and the huge advantage to using a data class is we don't need any boilerplate, right? Up here, init, we need to make init. Data class automatically makes that for you, which allows you to speed up everything. So here we have destination. I'm just going to make one called travel package in this case. I don't need init. I can just make destination. This is the variable, the property, and I'm just going to give it a value. Right, so I can do that. We can do, what else do we have? Country. Let's say for this one, let's say duration in days. That means will be an integer. We have a price. We can just use the decimal class, decimal. You could put float here as well. And let's say departure date. This is going to be a date, which, if we take a look up here, department date, departure, that'll work, right? I've also imported date. So we have other ways, these imports that are actually going to help us, one, regulate the data that's coming through and keep things a bit safer. I can use date for that. And then the advantage to this, not only I don't need init, I can just start going. It's lightweight, it's clean, it's readable. You can still make properties, or excuse me, methods in these data classes, right? So for example, I could check, is this a long holiday? So I'll be like extended stay. And really, let's just say that if it's over a certain amount of time, let's just return true or false, right? So this is going to return a Boolean value. And I'm just going to say return true if our duration days is over 14, right? If you're going somewhere for 2 weeks, that's an extended stay in my books. This is all you'd need for a data class, okay? So it's less boilerplate, it makes init automatically for you, as well as a few other built-in methods. And when it comes to trying to serialize your data too, this helps speed up the flow of things, especially if you have a lot of data and you want to get it over to JSON, for example, or something like that, right? So that would be a data class implementation. Now we're moving on to these two later ones, which honestly, I didn't know till probably a year or so into my Python journey, because we don't see these that much. A lot of courses don't necessarily talk about them, right? But we know in Python we have 4 built-in data structures: list, tuple, dictionary, set. A tuple is an immutable type of data, right? Now that's kind of like a list, but by creating a named tuple, it acts as a class, but it allows for the immutability benefits. So if we need good memory or good speed, because we can't change this later, this is also going to increase those. And not only is it immutable, so it's faster, but it's also smaller than a data class. And a data class is already really lightweight. This also, like I've said here, right, it prevents, what am I saying? I'm talking really fast now. It protects against mutations. That's the purpose of a tuple, so we can't change it. Now, there's 2 ways to go about this. The newer way, okay, is we actually have a class we can import called NamedTuple, all right? So in the newer way, right, kind of better practice here because it's not as old as the other one we'll touch on. I could create a class here. Let's just say, let's get like travel statistics, stats. And we can just inherit NamedTuple. Now it kind of works just like a data class when we set it up. I have a destination, that's going to be a string. We have a country, right? That's a string. I'm just creating all these properties. We could be like average stay in days, right? That's going to be an integer. And then you could be like average daily cost, right? This is going to be a float, a decimal if we're using this. I've used decimal twice before. Let's just say float here. Okay, now this is done. Okay, I can now use this as a class specifically to store data that I don't want to change. I can't give it methods, I can't even make those. Okay, this is done. Now, this is the newer way to handle things. Older forms of Python. Now, I could be wrong, correct me if you know. I want to say in Python 3.6, it could have been 3.4, but we have NamedTuple. This is the original built-in version. This is the legacy code. It's older. You're going to see this still. And some people are still using this. That's fine. But this is just for lightweight data grouping. So instead of creating a class like this, right, and then making an object, x equals travel stats, that's typically what we do. For a classic name tuple, I can actually name the class. So travel, let's say travel summary. The value to this is going to be a named tuple, right? So this is kind of like saying class travel stats, but this time I'm just making the name of the class, and the value of that class is going to be a named tuple. Okay, this is really quick, immutable because it's still a tuple, and this is when you don't need methods. I don't need to make classes, and it's really just faster to use because you can see how quickly I just coded that. I wrote that, right? And we don't need any external dependencies, right? So now the name tuple. What is the name of the class? The name of the class is travel summary. Okay, that's great. Then what properties do we want? We can put that in by a list. So destination could be a property. We could have, let's go with country. We could have climate. I don't know. When's the best season to travel? Best season, right? And then let's say, let's rate. I'll say rating, right? So I made the class. I can refer to it here. And then these are going to be the properties. It's done. Okay, so if you guys want to take a moment, let me just kind of tighten up this code a little bit here. And I'll go through it, right? We start with a traditional class. This is good when you need methods, you need properties, you want to control state. This is going to evolve over time. Your data class is clean and simple. It looks great. It takes a lot less boilerplate. I don't need init anymore. It's automatically there. It's lightweight. Data classes are great. Named tuples, you can think of a data class, okay? But this is really immutable, okay? And these are faster than a data class, and they're really good on memory, okay? So if you need speed, you need to save memory, and you want something really lightweight, named tuple. This is just the legacy code, right? So honestly, here I could just put legacy code. This is just the older Python code. Now let's put these into action. Okay, so how do we use all these? Well, it's kind of the same thing as just using a very standard class that we've already used in the past. Let's start off with like a traditional class. Okay, so I built the traditional class. Let's say the first destination is Bali. If you haven't been, check it out. Bali, I love it, right? Now, it could take a few things here. Well, Bali is an island, Indonesia. Yeah, okay. Name is equal to Bali. Okay, that's great. Country, I have to give that, right? So I'm just giving all these keyword arguments. Indonesia, okay? Climate. Now remember, climate, I actually built this class up here, right? Because this is storing all these constant variables that I can use. And I could actually expand on these well to get even more detailed, right? Arctic, I could say like snowy weather in Finland or something. I could expand on that. But now that we're down here, I'm giving climate. All we have to do is take the climate class and then choose what climate is Indonesia, tropical, right? So now I'm just accessing the property value here. And then we have a daily budget. What is the daily budget? We could say a hardcode float. We've been using decimal in this class, so I'm just going to say daily budget is $100. Okay, that class would be done. I could take Bali. I could use the method add attraction. What do you want to do in Bali? Let's go scuba diving. Pretty good diving there, honestly. Print off. What do we want to print? Let's just say peak season in Bali. And we actually made a property function. Okay, so I could actually take the property function and we can go up here, right? What did I call it? Peak season budget. Now this acts as a property because we're using the property decorator. All right, so down here, let's just say peak season budget. Okay, done. That is your traditional class sense. If we move into a data class, how do we use a data class? Pretty much the same exact thing. Let's create an object called Chile. I've always wanted to go. I aim to go there soon. I'm going to use the travel package because that was the data class. Now again, destination. There's a really cool place I want to go called Pucón. Am I saying it right? I don't know. There's a little accent on there. Country, again, is Chile. If you need to view the properties we have, duration, price, and departure date. Okay, so let's say duration in days, let's say 15 days. It's a long trip from where I'm at. Price, okay, price is decimal. How much is it? Let's just say again, let's just put like $100. Oh, this is the overall price. I'll leave $100 there. If it was $100, I think we would all go. And then we can take our departure date. Okay, now departure date, we imported something called date. What this does is I can now actually enter a date. So let's say 2025, September 15th, right? Now this is the date for that. Okay, pretty cool. Come down here and I'm just going to print off Pucon is a long trip, and this is either going to say true or false, right? Because I made a method to return the value of extended stay. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to say Chile, and we're going to say extended stay. Okay, so we've used both of those. What do we have next? We have the first implementation of a named tuple. So named tuple class. I'm just going to put here new because it's newer Python, kind of. Okay. In this case, let's say Japan. Okay. This is a travel stats. Okay. Now inside here, just like we did before, we still need to give everything. So Niseko, I want to go skiing really bad there. Niseko. So I'm going to put that. And you can see that all this code down here, when we're actually using it, is kind of the same. It's really just the creation of how we define these different data storage methods that we could use here. We have average stay in days, let's say 6. We have average daily cost. Now, okay, this is a bit steeper. I don't think I used the decimal class for this. No, I just used a float, right? So this is a bit of a steeper cost. Let's say 2,000. Okay. And then once again, if you want to come down here, you can print off anything you want. We'll print off go skiing in Japan. And then you can just access Japan, right? These are all just properties. So Japan dot, let's do this actually. Go skiing in where? Japan dot country. Cool. And then the last one is going to be legacy named tuple, right? How do we implement this? It's pretty much going to be the same thing. Let's say we want to go to Rome. And we have our travel summary, right? Now, while we did define this as a string here, right? This is the class. These are still the values that you have to give it. Okay, so going down here, what do we want to do? We have a destination. What's the destination? Rome. Okay, we have a country. What's the country? Italy. We have a climate. So this time, once again, tapping into my class climate. This is my butchered spelling of Mediterranean. Best season, I don't know because I have not been. Let's say spring. And then what would you rate it? If you guys have been to Italy on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you rate it? Let's say a 4.0. Did I say float? I think I said float for that. I didn't actually specify. Okay, that's fine. We will leave that there. Then to end things, let's just print off and let's do, I don't know, featured destination. And we're going to put here Rome dot destination, featured destination. That makes sense. And let's say best time to visit. And we're just going to tap in here Rome dot, what did I say? Best season. Okay. Run the code, right? But I think you guys understand what it's going to output here, right? I really just wanted to showcase, okay, I can see here, right, I'm throwing an error. So let me go and fix that error. Depth date, okay, so where am I in 87? Okay, I mean, that's correct. Okay, did I do something else? No, we have that, departure. Maybe wow, my spelling, departure date. What are you telling me there? I gave you a date, so clearly I got a little bug, departure date. And my issue was solely the fact that I put an equal sign instead of a colon. Boom, done. Peak season, Bali, right? Everything works exactly how you would expect it. These are just different ways for data storage that I'm hoping I introduced you to maybe one or even two new ways. Go and try these and implement these in your code. I covered when and why we use these and the advantages to each of these. Okay, so if you need to go back through the video, go back. Let me know your thoughts.
And there you have it, guys. Those are 4 different unique ways for data storage. We covered topics that you might already know, and other ones are completely new to you. That's great. If you got value in today's video, help me out. Hit that like button and subscribe, okay? That helps out the channel. Drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I love answering your questions. I'm more than happy to help you guys, okay? The link in the description, the first one is my Python master class, okay? Where I take you guys from A to Z in Python, building out interactive projects, a portfolio, one-on-one coaching, and so much more. Head on down, check that out, or just come and join the Discord group. Come and join the newsletter. Whatever you guys want, the links are dedicated to helping you grow in your Python journey. Well, that's all for this week's episode of Code with Josh. Until next time, Python crew, I will see you then.